it's high. Maybe it compares to some interest, to some credit cards. But this isn't 25% a year. This is 25% for 2 weeks. And at the end of this video, we're going to do a little bit of math on what that actually turns into on an APR or an effective APR basis. And these numbers are not crazy. These are actually very typical for payday loans. So if I'm borrowing $500, I have to give them back the $500 in 2 weeks plus $25 for every $100. So I'm borrowing $500, so I'm going to have to do plus 5 times 25, or $125. So I'm going to write them a check for 500 plus 125, so that's $625. $625 right there. I'm going to write a check. But obviously, I don't have the money in my bank account right now. Otherwise, I wouldn't even be going to the payday loan. But what I'm going to do in the date, I'm going to forward date this check. I'm going to put the date. Let's say this is the 1st of the month. Instead of, let's say it's January 1st. Instead of January 1st, I'm going to put 1/16, and whatever year I might be doing it. So I'm forwarded. This is 2 weeks from today. 2 weeks in the future. And then I'm going to sign the check. And well, maybe usually I'll sign the check, and I'll write it's for a payday loan, and I'll write 600. Well, I'll write out the words 600 and exit 25, et cetera, and then I have my little information here. And I'm going to give them this check. And what they're going to say is, we're not going to cash this. We're just going to keep this nice little check for us. And when your payday hits, you have an option. You can come back to us and give us $625 in cash, and then we will give you back this check that is uncashed. Or if you don't show up, we are just going to cash this check. So one of these two things are going to happen. But effectively, they're going to, if you didn't lie to them, they're going to essentially charge you $625. And you can imagine it is risky for the lender, because these are people with maybe shady pay stubs, and obviously they're desperate, so they weren't good at managing their finances. But they're doing their best to ensure that once that payday comes in, once that payment from the employer comes in, that they get first dibs on the money before the person can pay their rent or their utilities or their food. And so that's the general idea behind it. Now, we started off saying that it's probably not a good idea, and you got a sense of that because we're essentially paying 25% interest for every 2 weeks, not for every